Hello and welcome to the 2022 Rentokil Initial Killarney Historic Rally, a one-day spectacular in the Kingdom, which also starts Christmas in Killarney. Last year's event was won by the World Rally Championship duo of Craig Breen and Paul Nagle in their BMW M3, and the duo are back to defend their Killarney Historic crown in an ex-Frank Marr Ford Sierra Cosworth. The 2021 winners lead several international Irish Tarmac Rally Championship regulars, historic frontrunners, and this year's Junior British Rally Champions in an oversubscribed entry list that left many crews sitting on the sideline, unable to get on the start ramp, with the Killarney and District Motor Club confirming at their launch that it had received 230 entries for the 150 available spaces. It's now become the most popular historic rally in these Isles, and Elaine caught up with the leading protagonists at the start ramp on the eve of this year's event, which will be run over 7 stages, with the cars and crews traversing the iconic Malls Gap 3 times, the first and last runs in this year's event. Frank Marr was Craig Breen's childhood rally hero, and he recently completed a full restoration of the two-wheel drive Sierra. Killarney will be the car's first appearance since the restoration, with Breen even competing in a Marr replica suit.
Craig, you're number 1 on the road tomorrow. You must be looking forward to it.
Yeah, really am. I have to say it's obviously been a tough enough season, so this is our Christmas holidays every year down here in Killarney, so really looking forward to it. It's a bit more special than normal this year with the car that we have. It's been 2 years of hard graft by a lot of people involved to make it work, and I'm just delighted the way the cars turn out. And, looking forward to meeting some of the old fans and the old supporters of Frank's back in the day. So that's the most important thing for me this weekend.
It's special to go up the gap, but tomorrow it's going to be 3 times.
I know, yeah. It's never done before, and for the Killarney Rally, and to get 3 runs at one of the most iconic stages in the country, it'll be something special, and a dry weekend as well, which is very rare in Killarney this time of the year. So it'll be interesting tomorrow, and with the spectators going up already, and there was camper vans there last night. It's going to be huge crowds out there for everyone, and we're looking forward to it.
Breen's 1992 Circuit of Ireland winning Sierra will be followed up the Malls Gap opener by another Sierra driven by Johnny Greer, who finished 4th in the 2022 Irish Tarmac Championship. He pilots his 4x4 Sapphire model.
Johnny, tell us about your expectations this weekend.
Hopefully get a good clean run to start anyway. We've obviously got a lot of competition here this weekend, and Craig and another Sierra, which will be good fun. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Stages look nice and clean, and I say hopefully we'll have a good run in the car. We've had a few issues the last couple of years with this machine, so just looking for a nice clean run in the morning, get ourselves settled in, then see where we are and go from there really.
Alan Ring and Adrian Deasy are in a Subaru Legacy, and the local crew will be anxious to break their bridesmaid tag. An electronic issue has hindered their recent runs, and Ring is hopeful that the misfire has been sorted.
We believe we have fixed the misfire a year and a half later, so if fingers crossed, if it stays clean, we'll keep him honest. Maybe, beating Craig is a tough order, but we'll certainly keep him honest.
Irish Tarmac and Forest regular Cathal McCourt heads up 4 Ford Escort Mark IIs that will have an exciting battle of their own, while returning historic champions Welshman Neil Williams and Anthony O'Sullivan are seated 5th for the opening round of the 2023 Historic Irish Tarmac Championship.
What keeps bringing you back here to Killarney?
Well, look around you. Just look around you, the support the event has, and the camaraderie with the historics. Obviously, I won the championship this year. It's just unreal. We just can't beat it.
Eamon Kelly and Conor Mohan can celebrate their Junior British Rally Championship success with a spin around the Kerry Lakes in a newly built left-hand drive Mark II Escort.
I'm so happy to be back. Last year was probably one of the best rallies we've ever done, just in terms of enjoyment. So, yeah, to be back, it's like Christmas has come early.
And also entered is Dad Donna and his co-driver Rory Kennedy. The Donegal duo finished 4th on last year's event.
Donna, father and son out this weekend. You must be looking forward to it.
Yeah, I am indeed. We've kind of 2 rallies. We've our own internal family rally, and we have the overall rally. So yeah, can't wait to get going.
Next we see Charlie and Charlene Hickey, the father and daughter crew. Charlie's late son Johnny's child is seen sitting in the car before the off.
We needed someone to replace Johnny, so we're delighted that we have another member of the family, and we're training in Johnny's little boy here as well for a few years to come.
Poignant stuff. We wish them well. Kevin Eves and Chris Melly lead Killarney's modified entry, with Eves, a former Irish modified champion, looking for his first ever historic win in Killarney.
with 3 runs of the gap tomorrow, it's going to be tight work, but looks like the weather's going to be good race, so it'll be good crack.
And so to the opening stage at Moll's Gap, which is followed by the mountainous Ballochbeema Pass and the fast-flowing Kilgobnet stage, then into service at Lieber Container Cranes. The loop of Moll's Gap, Ballochbeema Pass and Kilgobnet is repeated and then into service again before heading out to take on the challenge of Moll's Gap for the 3rd and final time. The decision to run Moll's Gap 3 times has paid off. Spectators headed up from early morning and most stayed there all day to await cars and crews. Food vans busy from daybreak to dusk as spectators waited patiently for those coming up from below as we descend through the mist to see Breen and Nagle seeded 1, get the 2022 event underway. And so to the action and the first run up Moll's Gap for the number 1 seeds in the Sierra. The Sierra is a 2-wheel drive car, not easy to control as Breen is seen seesawing at the wheel. The Waterford man was first home over Moll's Gap, but only by 0.7 of a second from Johnny Greer.
1 left for 90, tightens the 2 over, bump slowing 50, late slow, 3 up minus shiny. And flat 1 left, opens for 50, tightens the 2 minus sharp. 42 left over crest, half long, tightens the 4 plus short, don't. 60. 60, tight flat 1 right over crest, 50, late 3 up minus short, opens for 60, double tightens, narrows, and tight, 3 left short, 50, 2 right minus, tightens in over crest, 100, slowing right over crest, and the late 3 left plus short, opens for 80, care.
Amazingly, the pair were then dead level after stage 2, and then Greer led for the first time by the end of the first loop by 1.2 seconds. Greer has become a Killarney Historic regular in recent years. The Northern Irishman, who finished 4th in the 2022 Irish Tarmac Rally Championship, hasn't registered for the historic category, which paved the way for a fantastic fight over historic points in the positions behind them. But Greer was in Killarney to try and beat Breen. Alan Ring led a very strong Kerry entry in his Subaru Legacy RS. He and co-driver Adrian Deasy finished 2nd overall last year, but his annoying misfire was back and he slotted into 3rd after 3.
Into left 2 and slight left over crest 20, sudden left 3 minus, right 3, into left 1, right 2, left 4, right 4, 20, right 5, 20, left 5, 60, left 5, slippy if wet, should be okay, into right 2 with the rock, 100, care, left 1.
The reigning historic Irish tarmac champions Neil Williams and Anthony O'Sullivan showed their class to lead their championship rivals from the start. Williams had only registered for the 2023 series on the morning of the rally, and after 3 he was in 4th, 22 seconds off Breen in his RS 1800. Colin McCourt had a brush with the scenery on stage 3, which dropped his escort behind Williams, and after 3 the gap to him and the Welshman was 12.7 seconds.
We just got broke away in a corner and she left me, and there was a round bale sitting the exit of the corner and she just went backwards into the round bale. Then I got bogged at a bit to get a wee push out. So here look, we were having a good run up to that, so it was, hey, it's interesting to see what the next slog of stages will be like. So.
3, 2, 1, go, 200. Right hand crest.
Fergus O'Mara had British Championship runner-up Mikey Galvin in the hot seat in his Ford Escort after running this year on the British Rally Championship with Keith Cronin.
Right hand flat crest at the top into a 1 left, 40, middle over flat crest and 1 right over crest, 60 line, caution 4 left over crest, into 3 right, 80, 4 right.
O'Mara was 6th after 3, 0.7 of a second off McCourt after 3 stages.
Yeah, happy enough. I suppose tyre choice was a bit of a lottery again. We kind of went a bit hard. It worked in the gap, and then we met the aisle and we thought we'd had puncture, so we backed off, and then Ballochbeema was very slippery for everybody, and so we're glad to get the first loop done, yeah.
Killarney pilot Mark Falvey had increased his pace after a slow enough run up Malls Gap on stage 1, but he got it together before service and was 1.6 seconds off O'Mara at first service. Michael McDade was 8th, a good run over 1 and 3, but found Ballochbeema slippy and tricky, and he discovered a fuel leak back at first service. Donna Kelly felt he wasn't doing the Mads M3 justice after a 12-month layoff from rallying, and he was 9th after 3. Sadly, no father and son battle though, as Eamon pulled in at Malls Gap after his escort let go, approaching the top. Sebastian Ling and Ali Rees got through stage 1, and a very creditable 5th place they were at that stage, but they were tired on Ballochbeema. Ling won the historic section of the recent Kerry Winter Rally. Ray Breen, the former national rally champion, and Craig's dad, was 10th after the first loop and hit a chicane bail on stage 3, slowing his progress in a legacy similar to Alan Ring's version.
It's really fast into the first chicane, and it kind of comes on you by surprise, but like it's 120 mile an hour plus, and to get it actually stopped up, brakes are cold, everything is cold from it stopped at the start. So
Welshman Melvin Evans, another former national champion, was 11th after 3 in his Mark II, just under 10 seconds off Ray Breen. And as we head for service, let's have a look at the car number 65, driven by James Hall and Tony McCarthy, as the pair traverse the gap and head to Kenmare in their iconic Quattro. Some amazing shots of this car, both inside and externally. So the top 5 at the end of 3 stages in this year's Killarney Historic Stages Rally sees Jonathan Greer have a mere 1.2 seconds lead from Craig Breen. Alan Ring is in 3rd place, holding a watching brief. Neil Williams and Cathal McCourt make up the top 5. That's it for part 1. We'll be back with part 2 shortly, and our first look at the modified section. And you're very welcome back to part 2 of this year's Killarney Historic Stages Rally. Be it on the stages or at first service, the crowds had turned up in their thousands to see this year's event. They'd mostly turned up to see the Breen-Nagle combination, and there was always a crowd around the Sierra at service. Once again, Rentokil Initial are the sponsors of this highly successful event, and we caught up with the sponsor, Mike O'Mahony.
It's some event again this year, and it seems to be just keep growing every year, doesn't it?
Absolutely, John. Yeah, it gets bigger and better year by year. Again, the crowds up in Malls Gap, they're absolutely terrific. The ceremonial started last night, the biggest crowd ever, I think. So yeah, it's going from strength to strength, which is exactly where we need it to be. Great effort put in by the club, and it's paying rich dividends. So at least conditions are terrific, top notch, couldn't be better really. So I think all the drivers are delighted that we arranged the weather as we did.
Well, just to hammer home how big the crowds were, take a look at this long shot of the amount of cars and camper vans sneaking across the access roads to Malls Gap. It was truly breathtaking. And up at the gap, well, you can see for yourself the amount of spectators now waiting for the start of the modified section. And back at stage start, the top modified seed, Kevin Eves, was rushing to fix a broken window in his Toyota Corolla. All set and ready to go. Eves headed up the gap for the first time.
3, 2, 1, go. 200.
And after the opening 3 stages, Eve's Toyota Corolla twin cam had an 11-second lead.
100. Neat 3 left. Short 3 right. 130. 4 right plus 130. Turn. Square left. 60. Slight left on crest and 2 left. 100. Right on crest 60. 3 right 60. 3 right 60. Left short 3 right and 5 left. Go 100. 6 right 150. Right on crest and 4 left open. 3 4 left open 60.
Conor Murphy and Sean Collins were seeking to build on their recent run of form, but had an axle issue on the first loop as they settled in behind Eves in second place.
Conor, good run up the gap, down to second place now. How's the opening 3 been for you?
A bit of a disaster. A bracket broke there on the axle, and it didn't break in Black Payment. She was only starting to give way, but at the end of Shanra there, or Kilgarvan, it broke. And she was crappy up the road, but we're after waiting it there now and we'll go out again and see how we get on.
Jack Newman and Andrew Brown were considered as podium contenders, but their first run up the gap left them 72nd in the modifieds. Although they got their Ford Escort to the final stage, their race was run after just 1.
And 2 left, 100, chicane, right entry, 4 bills. 40 out of it. To an absolute 2 right and 1 left, 155. To an absolute 2 left, use the road into stay right for the 4 left. And stay right for this 4 left. And into it. Into a long 3 right, push out of it. Go on. 505. Chicane, right entry.
How's the day been for you?
It's been okay. We had a misfortune on the first stage. The exhaust manifold separated from the exhaust, and I thought it was the engine, so I pulled over just to check and realised what happened. So back into the car and we got it sorted, and yeah, sure, the battle was over at that stage, so we're here, we're enjoying ourselves.
Plenty of Mark IIs, plenty of different kind of variations of cars out there as well. It's a very good entry this week. I presume you're enjoying being part of that mix?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's probably the best rally of the year, I think. It's the most enjoyable anyway. Brings a different crowd here, and yeah, it's super. Yeah.
Desi Keenan made a welcome return to Killarney, his first visit since 2016. The Monaghan pilot is a multiple winner of the end-of-year showdown, and he was third after 3 in modified, 7.8 seconds behind second place Murphy.
3 right at the sign, into long 3 left tightens, watch it past the gate, into 3 right then, and 2 left over crest jump. We left crest jump now, only 20 down to a 5 left. 80. 1 right into 5 left. And kink 3 right, 5 left through the rocks. 80.
That last one, we were running low on fuel, and every left-hand corner was taken. Should splutter, should miss going out of it. So you were in the car and you were sweating and you were freewheeling, and you just don't be thinking right. So we had a good enough run, it was good enough. So it was a short stage, lucky enough, so we got away with it, we got here.
A surprise fourth was John O'Dugan and Paul Lennon in their Mark II, just 1.2 seconds off Keenan.
And left on crest, Jono, you have 130 to your chicane right entry 4 bales. You have 130, Jono. I hope. That's the bike, it's open. Flat 2 left, 170, to 5 right.
John O'Dugan, good start. Happy enough the way things have gone?
Yeah, very happy. I came in here last year and I think I was 30 seconds off them in the gap. And I said if I was 10, I'd love that. The only thing now, I'm stuck in a sandwich with 2 Monaghan boys, with Desi and Daniel, but sure, it's good to be here. Good, yeah. I'm enjoying it, really enjoying it.
Well, if you're mixing with those boys, you're going all right, aren't you?
Definitely. I used to look up to them boys, like they were my idols, so I'm happy.
Tell us a bit about this car. Where's it come from?
This car I won this car on a raffle.
What?
Won this car on a Facebook raffle.
Really?
8 and an 05 and a couple other things. So we didn't do too much with it. We changed an awful lot of stuff on a new engine, new gearbox, basically a new car again, but we seem to have the right there now. So
a raffle prize finds itself in 4th place in modified at the Killarney Historic Stages Rally. You must be beaming from ear to ear. I mean, and in the middle of two guys who've international experience as well.
Definitely, it's like winning the lotto, hey, definitely. And I'm happy out, so you couldn't go wrong.
Daniel McKenna and Andrew Greenan got into the start list, having been on the reserves. And McKenna, a former British rally champion, was 5th after 3 in the Mark II, breathing down Dugan's neck.
Yeah, it's going fine, with no issues at all. Probably just a bit slow with me. First time probably getting a proper run over these stages. So, but we're happy enough. Like, they're on a serious pace, so like anything could happen at that sort of pace. But no dramas. We're happy.
Behind them, Raymond Conlon and Paul Sheridan in the Toyota Corolla twin cam, 23 seconds behind McKenna. Enda O'Brien and John Butler were in 7th place in their Mark II. There was nothing between themselves and Conlon, just a mere 0.5 of a second. 8th in modifieds, Leonard Downey and Mark Murphy in their Ford Escort, 9.3 seconds behind Enda O'Brien. Things were tight in the top 10.
The car's going well for you, obviously.
Car is flying. The stages are beautiful. It's a beautiful day. What more could you ask for?
Sure. In terms of the car itself, tell us a bit about it.
2.5, tractive gearbox, about 360 brake horsepower approx. Yeah. Very drivable, very nice car to drive.
Dennis Hickey and Owen O'Leary has smuggled their way into the top 10 after the run over Kilgobnet, and we're now 4.6 seconds adrift of Leonard Downey and Mark Murphy. The top 10 was completed by Kevin O'Donoghue and Evan McBride in their BMW E30. They were just 1 second behind Hickey. Another of the Ford Escort Brigade, Colin Moynihan and Kevin Horgan, 11th after 3. Sam Moffat and Keith Moriarty in the Toyota Starlet rear-wheel drive were way back after the opening loop.
We were going well through the gap this morning, and just car started cutting out, and we thought the engine was the issue, and we got to the end of the stage and we got towed back in here, but looks like we've a wiring issue, so hopefully we'll get back out again for a bit of sliding.
Irish tarmac champion Josh was adjusting to rear-wheel drive rallying in his cousin's Starlet.
You enjoyed doing this event?
Yeah, look, it's something different for us this weekend. I've never actually done this event, and it's my first time in a 2.5 litre rear-wheel drive car, so certainly it's plenty of fun. We've got the first 3 over, so okay, so look, we'll go back out and do the same again.
3, 2, 1, go. 200, right on crest.
Jason Black in his Starlet was 12th in modifieds, driving his brother Garrett's car with his own motor, getting a post-season overhaul.
100 for 2 right in, keep right over 150, turn square left, bail inside. And caution crest, 4 left, don't come up. Second, 80, that one right over crest, 60, short 4 right go out, and very late 4 right, into 2 left, and stay left over 80 for flat 2 right, 200.
Gary McPhillips and Ger Conway had a bad day at the office for one of the favourites, mechanical issues from the off, and they eventually retired. Tom Randalls is in with Cathal Quill this year. Thomas won the Mark II Challenge back in 2004. As Cathal wasn't the co-driver back then, it was Dermot Lynch, who this year is sitting in with Mark Falvey.
2 left in at the fence, 80, try and carry on it. And 2 left, go again, go, and danger, 2 right into long 3 left, Slippy, watch it, into long 4 right, repeat long 4 right, Slippy, and it opens to 3 right, into 3 left, and go out this 3 left 80, for a flat 2 left, 250 up the middle, it's flat, go, 250, square right at the wall above, square right, don't cut.
see Charlie Hickey and Charlene Hickey going well and just outside the top 20 after 3 in their RS Ford Escort. Noel O'Sullivan and Nicholas Burke in their Ford Escort Mark II. They are the 2013 Irish Tarmac Rally Modified Champions. Competing for 31 years, they were class winners in the first ever Killarney Historic Rally back in 1996 and only missed the rally once since then. They've competed on 38 Rally of the Lakes. So the modified leaders after 3 stages. It is Kevin Eves with an 11-second lead from Conor Murphy. Desi Keenan's jumped into 3rd place, 7.8 seconds in arrears. John O'Dugan in that surprise 4th place, trying now to hold off Daniel McKenna in 5th. That's our first look at the modifieds. We're back to the historics in part 3, coming up shortly. Welcome back to part 3 of this year's Rentokil Initial Killarney Historic Stages Rally, as fans gathered for the second loop of 3 stages over Malls Gap, Ballochbeema and Kilgobnet. Many had moved into position from early morning and were determined to stay with every vantage point taken as we await the continuing battle on both the historic section, led by Johnny Greer, and the modifieds, headed by Kevin Eves. And many thanks must go as well to the many volunteers who once again gave up their time to officiate on this year's event. A tough ask with so many spectators out on the stages. And so to the action. Greer and Breen continued their personal duel at the top of the standings. But Breen was lucky to be still in the rally as his team realised he was having an issue with his diff, and it looked to be the end for the Waterford ace. However, despite being so close on times, Greer then loaned Breen a spare, which meant the battle continued into the afternoon.
Tight 3 minus don't. And slow 3 up minus nips. And flat 1 left, 40, late 2 right minus, half long over crest, 120 slowing turn, late 5 left plus around the bail. 42 left over crest, half long, tightens to 4 plus, short, don't, 60, 60, tight flat 1 right over crest, 50, late 3 out minus, short, opens for 60, double tightens, narrows.
Breen and Nagel were on it now as they battled to keep their 2-wheel drive car close to Greer. Breen led by 3.2 seconds after 4. The gap came down to a second after 5. And amazingly, with just 1 test to go, the final run up Malls, they were dead level. Breen, though, had a smashed rear window and he was about to run into trouble.
How was it in there for you second time around?
Yeah, it was fine. Bit of gravel and stuff pulled out from the first pass, but all of it was quite good. So yeah, I had a good enough run, just happy enough, and didn't make any mistakes. So just keep trying like that.
A misfiring Subaru Legacy still kept Alan Ring in the battle for 3rd place. No problem for the local crew on the second loop, but with 14.6 seconds between Ring and the top 2, the podium place looked to be the best he could muster.
Slide left of the shed, 100, left 1, right 2 hug, 100, still quick, line right 3 fast, and left 2, and right over jump 2, 80, stopping right 4, 40, turn left 6.
A spin and a clash with some bales on stage 3 meant that Colin McCourt and Neil Williams swapped 4th and 5th positions. Williams said he lost some 10 seconds or more by simply forgetting to check his tyre pressures before starting stage 1, so should have been further up the leaderboard. Heading into the last stage, there was 4.3 seconds between Williams, the current Irish Historic Champion, and McCourt with run 3 over Malls to come. McCourt was putting huge pressure on the Welsh driver. The all-Killarney club pairing of Fergus O'Mara and Mikey Galvin moved into 6th place in a strong showing by the local crew over stages 4 and 5. O'Mara was going well, but the gap was just too much to try and make it into the top 5.
60, 4 left, and 6 right. 100, 3 right carry, 150, turn, square left, bail inside, and crest bump 20, 6 left, don't cut, 80.
Sadly, this was the last we saw of Mark Falvey's Escort as he disappeared off our timing screens at the end of stage 5. Donna Kelly and Rory Kennedy weren't exactly the quickest crew out on the stages, but they were sneaking up the leaderboard after Kelly's year-long absence from the sport, and after 6 stages the Donegal man was now 7th in the BMW M3. McDade and Casey, the hard-charging gravel experts, attacked Killarney's penultimate test with just a little too much vigour. Their Ford Escort RS 1800 hit a chicane in Kilgobnet, leaving them stranded for 8 minutes and subsequently out of contention. Ray Breen, though, was still in contention for a top 10 finish. He was now 8th with 1 to go. Ninth after 6 stages was Tom Clark and Alistair Wiley in their Ford Escort. And completing out the top 10, Melvin Evans and Sean Haid in their Mark II. They were just 7.2 seconds behind Clark and Wiley. So what of some of our visiting crews? Well, first up, here's Duncan Williams.
We're enjoying it now. We had a bit of a slow start this morning, struggled with the slippy stuff, but now there's a bit more grip, and we're really enjoying it, actually. Really enjoying it.
And Mols again?
Well, yeah, well, why not? While we're here.
Why not, exactly? Well, it's great to get some visitors here, and we do have a lot of Welsh crews, but we've got one from London, Guy Anderson. Tell us about this car, Guy.
Yeah, hi. This is a X-Works Mitsubishi Galant VR4. It was built for the Safari Rally in 1992. So it's a bit heavy for this, but yeah, she's going well. We had a good run up Moles back, scared ourselves up there, I must admit. We're nearly in the wall, but we're enjoying it. Yeah, it's good. It's good to be over here and mixing it. It's good.
So as the Historics got ready for the final stage, run 3 up the gap, we got to speak to Craig Breen, who's having 1 or 2 problems.
We saw it coming off the end of the stage and the back window was gone. What happened?
That was from the previous one. Just a stone or a chipping or something must have came in and hit it. I tried to fix it before the last one, but it blew out very shortly into the stage. So it's a pity. More important than anything, I lost my jacket. I lost my lovely Duckham's jacket that I had to go with the car. So that's actually what I'm more worried about now, trying to get that back again. So level peggings going into the gap. So it's great, brilliant race. Delighted the way the whole thing has panned out now. To be fair, I wouldn't be in the rally still unless Johnny Greer gave me a loan of a rear div. So glad that we're having a big race and may the best man win now.
One interested spectator in Killarney was the ex-head of motorsport at Ford, the Irishman Gerard Quinn.
So many years working in the likes of M Sports, and this is obviously something that's very much to your heart, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, rallying is very important to me. It's part of my life, really, and it was a career for me for over a long period of time, and to come here and see all this fantastic machinery here and the way the heritage of the sport is being kept alive is just brilliant.
It was a thrilling day's Killarney Historic Stages Rally. It goes from strength to strength. This event is becoming more and more popular, with multiple Welsh crews taking part in their first rally in Irish soil. Killarney truly is the jewel in the crown for historic rallying in Ireland as we switch to the battle for the modifieds. There was to be no catching Kevin Eves in the Toyota Corolla Twin Cam. An 11-second lead was stretched out to 36 seconds at the end of 6 stages, and with 1 to go, his first ever win at Killarney was within his grasp.
6 left and 4 right. Press the bump, 20, 2 right and 2 left. 40, 6 right, 80, 6 left and 5 right. Continues in tightness, the 4 right, past the pass. 40, 3 left, 80, 6 left and 4 right.
Conor Murphy briefly led the modifieds, but never made it back out of the second loop after his back axle issues. Daniel McKenna had manifold problems, but was now second with 1 to go, 36.4 seconds off Eves. Dizzy Keenan too had manifold problems, but was third in modified, 5.7 seconds off McKenna, with 1 more run of a miles gap to come.
200. Left and right at the farm, 100. 200. Up over the crest, down the right hand the chicane. Keep her lead over this crest. Go on, keep her lead, keep her lead. No. That's the job, boy. 1 left, go, 120.
Give me a hammer to get it.
As you don't destroy the car, you're trying to fix it as well.
Yeah.
Looks very clean in there. How's it been for you?
It's not too bad. Yeah, it's going well there, that last loop. Great stages, and you know, the weather's made it there great as well. So the last stage, the manifold here blew off. So we're just trying to get a new spring on it here and get it sorted out.
Behind them, John O'Dugan and Paul Lennon producing a really good rally in their Mark II. They were just 0.6 of a second off a podium finish. Remarkable.
To a 1 left and 2 right, 100. To a caution, short 3 right, to 2 left past the wall. And 1 right over jump, 60. To a slow 2 right over crest, and turn square left around the sign. Wide exit, just drive it. 200 down the middle, that's the boy, well done now. Caution, late 5 right at the wall. Late 5 right at the wall.
The fact there's only one stage left and the gap wouldn't be my favourite, but I'm going to try and give it me all.
Just behind them, Raymond Conlon and Paul Sheridan in the Toyota Corolla, a minute behind the hard-charging Dugan. Dennis Hickey and Owen O'Leary in the Ford Escort were just 2.8 seconds off Raymond Conlon. Could he snatch a top 5 place?
There's a few things to think about here being Kerry Crew. There's the John Reardon Cup as well, so I'm not sure, do I want 5th or do I want the John Reardon Cup, which is a local cup here. Yeah. So we'd have to have a think on that one.
Behind them, Leonard Downey and Mark Murphy in the Ford Escort. They were also in contention for a top 5 place, just 1.3 seconds behind Hickey. Jason Black and Carl Egan were in 8th place, moving up 1 position from stage 5 to stage 6 in the Toyota Starlet, 5.3 seconds behind Leonard Downey.
Mid over crest, tight 3 left, slippy water and mud for 4 right, and sudden hip left down. 60 to the bridge, flat 2 left, and flat 2 right, flat 1 left, and flat 2 right. 100 for caution, then for 3 right, 2 left, and 1 right over jump bridge. 3 right here and 1 left. 1 right over jump bridge, then 60 for slow 2 right over crest, turn slot square left around the sign, 200 down mid then.
Sadly, both Moffats, Josh and Sam, went out on stage 5. Ballacbeema both drove the event for fun, and Josh informed us in Kerry that he intended to have another crack at winning both the Irish Tarmac Rally Championship and the National Series in 2023. Jack Newman was 17th, but still pushing, as these brilliant in-car shots show.
You have 1 right, and an absolute 2 left. Absolute 2 left, 85. To an absolute 2 left, and an absolute 2 right. 155. The 3 left in, use the road. Push on it, and 1 right, 60. Small crest and 3 right in, push. Into absolute 2 left, use the road on the 2 left. 155.
Thomas Randalls and Cathal Quill were in 22nd in the Ford Escort Mark II.
Flat, long 1 right, open, tightens, flat 2 right, it's all flat, 130, flat crest, 100, keep it going, right on flat crest, and up to a flat 1 right, keep going, flat 1 right, flat 1 left, keep going, and then you will come back very long 2 right, that past the pillars, it's bumpy, very long 2 right, all bumpy ahead now, well done, that's good, carry away over the bumps, into 1 right, and 3 right.
Well, Charlie and Charlene Hickey were just 26.2 seconds behind Randalls and Quill with 1 stage to go. We'll have the conclusion of this year's Rentokil Initial Killarney Historic Stages Rally after this break. Welcome back to the conclusion of the Killarney Historic Stages Rally and the amazing shots of an amazing county. Before we get into the class winners and the overall historic and modified classes, We see the former national champion Andrew Purcell with his wife Sarah on the notes. All was going well on the second run through Mall's Gap, and the pair were catching Neil Phelan's Escort, but they spun on the approach to Mall's Gap. The Purcells weren't the only crew to entertain the crowds in Killarney, so sit back and enjoy some of the other sideways crews who had arrived from near and far to compete in this year's event. Let's move on then to the class wins, and in Historics Class K, happy to get his Audi Quattro home in one piece, was James Hall.
Caution west and 3 right, into 3 left, and 5 right down, 60, with a break space, 5 right down, 60, to a 6 left here, very long, 5 right, then tight, 4 right, and 4 left narrows.
But taking first in Class K, Ray Breen and Damien Morrissey in the Subaru Legacy. In B2, first in class, Joe White and Des Sherlock in their Morris Cooper S. The overall winner, though, was Colin McDowell and Bryn Pearce in the Austin Mini. B3 class winners, Tom and Helen Slattery in the Lotus Cortina. B4 victors, Peter Neville and David Mannion in the Volvo 142. C2, Ed Coulton and John Fogarty in their Hillman Adventure. C4 winners, Trevor Wilson, Paul Mulholland in the Porsche 911. In C5, first in class, Patter and Grace Walsh in the Mark I Ford Escort. But the overall winner, car number 14, ridden by Stanley Orr and navigated by Michael Gibson, another Mark I Ford Escort. D2 winners, David O'Brien and Niall O'Brien in Escort Mark II. D3 class winners, Alan Watkins and Owen McCarthy in their RS 2000. F1 went to Liam Regan and Glyn Thomas in the Skoda Estelle. And G1, Tom Clark, Alistair Wiley in a Ford Escort. So to the top overall historic, and in 6th place, Donna Kelly and Rory Kennedy, proving that to finish first, yet to first finish. As those around them fell away, Kelly brought home the BMW just outside the historic top 5. Fergus O'Mara and Mikey Galvin finished in 5th overall and were the highest finishing all Killarney and Kerry crew. 4th, the reigning historic Irish champion Neil Williams and Anthony O'Sullivan showed their class to the championship rivals from start to finish. They finished 4th overall, 49.1 seconds ahead of Fergus O'Mara, who sealed 2nd place in the championship point standings. A stage win time on Mall's Gap for Cathal McCourt was enough to take him ahead of Williams and into the podium positions. A fine drive from the Tyrone driver. Alan Ring and Adrian Deasy finished 30 seconds behind the leader, which was to be their second place finish in the event in as many years. There was drama though, as Craig Breen had to retire before the start of the final stage. Unfortunately, Breen's ex-Frank Marr Sierra broke a drive shaft just before the start line, handing a well-deserved victory to Johnny Greer and co-driver Niall Burns. Greer knew a calm drive up the gap would be enough to take overall honours.
It's our 4th attempt now with this car, and we've had a lot of problems with it before, and the guys DGM have done a fantastic job all year to get this car where it needs to be, and it's never missed a beat the whole event, so fantastic.
Bridesmaid again this year. Craig and Johnny were running very fast. For most of the day we were with him, but the issue with the engine, the manifold is getting worse, and we'll come back next year. We'll have another go.
The rally was very, very well run and great stages, and the crowds was phenomenal. So and all in all, it was a very, very good rally for us.
Moving on to the modified classes. In Class 1, won by Kevin Flanagan and Mark Riley in the Austin Mini Cooper S. Class 2 winners Patsy McDonough and Lee Cavada in the Mark II. Class 3 went to Tommy McDonough and Segan Hickey. They were in a Ford Escort. Also in a Ford Escort, winning Class 4, Noel O'Sullivan and Nicholas Burke. They repeated their class-winning performance from way back in 1996. Class 5 went to Kevin O'Connor and Mike Breen in the Sunbeam Talbot. And so to the top 6 overall in the modified. Dropping down one place on the last stage, Raymond Conlon and Paul Sheridan in their Toyota Corolla Twin Cam. Jason Black rounded out the top 5, jumping 3 places on the last stage with Carl Egan in the Toyota Starlet. Desi Keenan had to be content with 4th place in modified, 4.7 seconds off 3rd place. John O'Dugan beat Desi Keenan to the final podium spot on the final stage. He said he'd go for a podium push at final service, and he did it. 2nd place, Daniel McKenna took the runners-up spot, some 30.6 seconds off Eves. Not bad for McKenna, former British champion, coming in off the reserve list. But a calm and collective drive by the top seeds, Kevin Eves and Chris Melly, meant the modified trophy was making a long trip north to Donegal, and Eves' first victory in the historic rally in the modified section.
You're Irish champion as well. What does it mean to win though in Killarney?
Well, hey, this is kind of top of the mantelpiece for me. For I suppose this will be my first, what I would claim, an outright win. So hey, this is class. We were second here last year to Rob, so it's good to be standing here.
Yeah, we're delighted because it's our first time doing this rally, and we don't really have much experience of the stages. So, you know, to get close to Kevin, who's one of the top guys in the country the last couple of years, we're delighted.
When you consider what the quality of the drivers and the cars around you in the modified section, to finish in top 3 must be beyond your wildest dreams, is it?
Oh, definitely. The machinery here and the men is unbelievable. So, to be even close to them, delighted. Hey.
So this was the top drivers in this year's Killarney Historic Stages Rally, as we have a final word in this year's event with the clerk of the course, Anthony O'Connor.
It's been a wonderful weekend in Killarney. I'm very thankful to Rentokil in East Ireland and to Michael O'Mahony. I think the branding does an awful lot for the event, and hopefully we can continue that into the future.
Well, after a titanic battle, it came down to the very last stage. Unfortunately, Craig Breen didn't come out, so in the end, relatively easy victory for Johnny Greer, but he certainly put it up to Craig Breen right throughout the afternoon. Fantastic 7 stages rally here. Mollscrap won 3 times. Huge crowds. Hopefully we'll do it all again next year. But to the victor of the spoils, well done to Johnny Greer, and congratulations to our modified winner as well, Kevin Eves. I'm John Kelly. Hope you've enjoyed our coverage. Till next year, bye for now.